Hi guys, what's up? This is Doctorian, and today we're gonna take a look at the Fury Warrior. The Fury Warrior is my second main next to my Druid. This guy here has 6 out of 7 heroic, so I have quite some rating experience on it. 7 out of 7 normal, of course. And I thought it was time to make a guide about the Fury Warrior, so let's dive into it. Talents, level 15. I really like Juggernaut. You can charge every 12 seconds instead of every 20. Really good. Double time is also good. You can use charge twice in a row, but it can only grant rage once every 12 seconds. Each use has a 20 seconds recharge time. Pick whichever you prefer and what is most beneficial to your boss fight. I really rock with Juggernaut. I just love this talent. Level 30. I would strongly recommend Enraged Regeneration. It's a 10% heal, instantly 10% heal and an extra 20% HP over 5 seconds. The cool thing with this is that you can use it on demand. It has a 1 second cooldown, of a 1 minute cooldown, I'm sorry. It has a 1 minute cooldown, but it's really strong, it's really good. Impending Victory heals about the same amount, but you have to find a place in the rotation. I'd rather go for Enraged Regeneration. I can use that when it's necessary. Level 45. Some debate is going up here. Fury Strikes or Sudden Death. Okay. Basically, they're equal right now. They're about the same DPS. But I would strongly recommend Fury Strike. Wall Strike costs 25 less rage. Because of the Wall Strike has 25 less rage, it means you have no downtime in your rotation. I've talked to some other warriors. I know a lot of warriors are going with Sudden Death. Sudden Death, your automatic hits have a 10% chance to make your next execute cost no initial rage and be usable on any target regardless of health level. It's really good as well. Execute does a lot of damage. Personally right now, I talked to a warrior on 7 out of 7 mythic, and he is rocking with Furious Strikes talent because he says I have no downtime in my rotation. I have 2 good weapons. I can always keep on hammering. And since Sudden Death is about the same DPS wise, Furious Strikes has my preference, and so does the warrior 7 out of 7 mythic. And if you're really good geared, it will pull slightly ahead of Sudden Death. You need to be really good geared with really good weapons. But basically the same, but Furious Strike has a chance to be, especially with really good weapons, to pull ahead. I would strongly recommend it. I will show you why when I show you how to play this. Level 60, Stormbolt for single target. 30 seconds cooldown, you can just throw this out. And it will stun targets as well. Well, stun doesn't work on bosses. And sometimes it doesn't even work on trash. It's really annoying me. But yeah, when it does on other trash it works. So you can use it as an interrupt or a silence on trash as well. Stormbolt is really good for single target. AoE, however, Dragon Roar comes in. Especially on a boss with Tactus. Dragon Roar, when he turns into 4 adds, that's when you want to bring this baby in and destroy them. There are also some other bosses, so number 6 and 7 on Heimel. You could use this as well, but I'm going for Stormbolt most of the time, but Dragon Roar for AoE in cleave fights. Level 75, I still have Mass Spell Reflection for PvP, but Safeguard basically. Run at high speed towards a party or raid member, intercepting the next melee or range attack made against them, reducing damage taken by 20% for 6 seconds. This is on a 30 seconds cooldown. Vigilance takes 30%, does the same. Reduces damage taken by 30%. For a party or raid member for 12 seconds, but it's on a 2-minute cooldown, and this is on a 30 seconds cooldown. You can make a macro with Safeguard that it will run to the player with the lowest HP. So it will automatically target the player on lowest HP near you and will run towards it for using Safeguard. Level 90. For a straight up single target fight, Bloodbath is the way to go. Butcher style. If you're playing Butcher or you're playing Kargoth, and in Kargoth, in case you're not going up, if you're staying down at Kargoth, Bloodbath. If you're going Butcher fight, Bloodbath is the way to go. Okay, it's 30% more damage for 12 seconds for your for all your abilities plus all your multi strikes and all your bleeds. That's always good. Bloodbath, single target, straight up way to go. AoE fights, Tactus, Bracken Spore as well. If you have 2 targets or more, Bladestorm is kicking in. Bladestorm is immensely good for AoE and for cleave fights. Tactus, of course, Bracken Spore when he summons. I'm using it on Bracken Spore because it brings in 2 targets. I tried it out. I actually played Tactus with Bloodbath and Bladestorm, and with Bladestorm I'm doing more damage. I tried that multiple times. So 2 targets or more, and when you need to AoE, Bladestorm is definitely the one to go. It does so much damage. Level 100, Ravager. It throws a whirling axe. In my gear right now it does 2.7k every second for 10 seconds. That's 27k, that's pretty good. It's also the best for single target. This is really good for AoE and single target. So if you have moments to cleave in a boss fight, make sure you throw Ravager down at those moments it can AoE. If Ravager is not usable for whatever reason, you should pick up Anger Management. Glyphs. Glyph of Bull Rush. I really like this one. Your charge generates an additional 15 rage. It's really cool, especially with a lot of movement going on. This glyphs, the downtime of movement is coming. You get an extra benefit out of it. It's not really benefit. Downtime is always bad, but if you get knocked back or you have to charge somewhere, because of the extra rage, you can use your abilities faster. You have faster enough rage to keep on going, so you have less problems of moving. It gives you more mobility, really cool. Glyph of Enraged Speed. While enraged you move 20% faster. Movement speed is always good. Nothing wrong with that. And Glyph of Unending Rage increases your maximum rage by 20 is also good. Minor glyphs. Glyph of Blazing Trail. It's all visual, just pick whatever you want. Glyph of Blazing Trail. I think it's funny when you charge you leave a fiery trail. Glyph of Burning Anger. When I'm enraged I'm catching on fire. And a shout. When I use a shout I will hover in the air. It's all about illusions. Well, illusion, all about eye candy. It's all about eye candy. So yeah. So that's the talents we're working with in the glyphs. Stat priority. Of course we want items with strength. We don't want a guillotine intellect or something like that. So strength is your basic how you call it? Your basic item you want to look for. Stat, your basic stat you want to look for. God damn. Sorry guys. Enhancements of secondary stats, let's call them like that. Enhancements sound so silly. Critical strike. We want as much crit as we can get. Why is that? Because if Bloodthirst crits, your warrior will go into enraged mode, and when we're in enraged we do extra damage, 10% extra damage when you are enraged. So you want to get as much crit as can and spend as much time being enraged. That's what you want. Okay, so crit is really important. After that it's multi-strike. Multi-strike grants 2. In my gear right now, 8.21 chance to deliver an extra attack or heal for 30% of the normal value. I want to explain this a little bit. So what happens when what does it say, multi-strike? Well, basically what multi-strike is saying about the 2 chances is that when I do a wall strike, it rolls a dice 2 times. The server starts rolling a dice 2 times, and this is what is happening. So when I do a multi-strike, I have on, let's say you roll on an item, you have that the item is rolling 1 to 100. Well, this is the same, but then it's for an extra wall strike. And you get 2 rolls from the server on an extra wall strike. It's not like you have a bonus roll on an item, but now you have 2, it's like you have the bonus rolls are an extra chance on an item, multi-strike is an extra chance on an extra attack. And for 30% of the original damage. So, when I hit, let's say with a wall strike, the server rolls twice to get me an extra wall strike. So it rolls once for 1 extra attack. For the first extra attack, I have to say, that's an 8.21% chance, and then it rolls another time for the second extra attack. It's also an 8.21% chance. That's how it works. Okay, so multi-strike really comes into play because extra attacks, free extra attacks, even though they're only 30% of the damage, it's always good. Mastery comes after multi-strike. Increases damage done while enraged in my gear right now by 16%. I have 16% mastery. Basically, when we get higher gear, we will get to a point in this expansion when we will be enraged the entire time, and then mastery is going to be really important. Mastery increases the damage done while you are enraged. So it's going to go up the ladder at some point, just because when you are enraged, you want to do you already have a bonus buff and you want to increase that bonus buff. And when we get to that point that we are enraged the entire time, mastery really comes into place. But it is already a really important stat. You want to have this because Bloodthirst and Berserker Rage is going to get you into enrage, and mastery increases your damage done while you are enraged. Really, really important stat. After mastery, it's versatility and haste. Versatility increases your damage done and your healing done, and decreases damage taken, which is a really good stat. Haste is also really good. Increases attack speed, that's always good, but also decreases the time of global cooldowns, which is really important as well. So haste is a really good stat as well. Basically with the warriors, it's pretty okay. There's not really a downside. Of course, crit, multi-strike and mastery are our three main stats you want to focus on as much as you can. But also haste comes into play, and also versatility comes into play. Personally, I like haste a little bit more. Getting stuff off cooldown faster is really, really cool, especially to get a cooldown on Bloodthirst. To get less cooldown on Bloodthirst is always really good. So, crit, multi-strike, mastery, haste and versatility. That's how you roll. Enchants, really simple. Crit all the way. Crit on your neck, crit on your cloak, crit on your rings. It's all there. And your weapons and enchants. Mark of the Thunderlord gives you a extra chance to get 500 critical strike. Really, really cool. So it's all about crit in this with the Fury Warrior. So how do we play this bad boy? It's not really hard to master in my opinion, especially when you're going with the Furious Strikes talent. You're gonna be, it's not that hard, trust me. So I'm gonna show you. Basically, what you want to do is you want to get into enrage mode as much as you can, and that's why we need crit. And we get into enrage with Berserker Rage over the Bloodthirst crit. But here you guys, some guides on the internet say like, you need to save Berserker Rage for when you're not enraged. The point is that Berserker Rage always, even if you are already enraged, it will always give you a Raging Blow proc. Always. If you're enraged or not, it will give you a Raging Blow proc. And you can save this. Let's say I'm only using it when I'm not enraged. And then I use this. And I use Berserker Rage. I am enraged. I get a Raging Blow proc. I use it. Then I use Bloodthirst and I get enraged again. So all this time, let's say I'm not using it for, let's say, 3 minutes. So I could have used it 6 times. I wasted 6 Raging Blows I could have used. Sometimes you're lucky, you're gonna be in enraged all the time. And then at some point you drop out of being enraged. And then, yeah, Berserker Rage could have filled that gap right then, but it will come back with Bloodthirst. And it's a silly thing to not use that extra Raging Blow which Berserker Rage is giving you. And if you do not use Berserker Rage on cooldown, you're gonna waste that Raging Blow. You're not gonna use it the entire time. And sometimes you're gonna be enraged for a longer period, and then it's just sitting there, and you're not using an extra Raging Blow. It's free, you can pick it up right there. So, Berserker Rage and Bloodthirst should always be used on cooldown, basically. That's what I'm saying. I know websites are saying save Berserker Rage, but it can turn out to be a DPS loss, seriously. So, you're gonna pre-pot, and the moment you're pre-potting, you're gonna pre-pot on 1. Then you're gonna hit enrage, and we're gonna charge in. We're gonna use Bloodbath, we're gonna use our Whirlwind, and we're gonna use our crit banner. There's a Recklessness banner, and then we're gonna use Bloodthirst on cooldown. Raging Blow always comes into priority. Always your Raging Blow procs have priority, and because I'm using the Furious Strike talents, I don't have to worry about my rage when things are on cooldown. Stormbolt also should be used on cooldown. Your Raging Blow has priority. Wall Strikes right now are free. I'm gonna use a Raging Blow. There we go again. Bloodthirst off cooldown. And just use those Wall Strikes as filler. Here we go. This is basically it, guys. This is how you rock that Fury Warrior. Like you can see, my Bloodthirsts are critting like the entire time like crazy. If I would save Berserker Rage, I would have a DPS loss. It's a free enrage. Now my cooldowns are coming back. I'm gonna use this again. I'm gonna use enrage. Get the Stormbolt out. Get those Raging Blows out. And that's how we continue. Really, really easy. Nothing difficult about it. And this is how you rock the Fury Warrior, guys. So, let me go over it again. Berserker Rage on the just before the pull. Charge in. Use a Bloodthirst. Get Stormbolt out. Raging Blow off cooldown, always. Wild Strike as a filler. When Bloodthirst is off cooldown, Bloodthirst is on cooldown. When you use your Raging Blow, and when Stormbolt is on cooldown, when everything is on cooldown, Wild Strike comes into play. With the Furious Strike talent, you don't have to worry about your rage. If you're going with the Sudden Death talent, things are different. If you're gonna go with Sudden Death, it's the same stuff. Berserker Rage on cooldown, Stormbolt on cooldown, Bloodthirst on cooldown. But you want to check how your rage is, because your Wild Strike is gonna cost a lot more rage, so you can't spam it like I'm doing. You need to keep more. You're gonna have to keep more an eye on your rage. So then it's Bloodthirst, Raging Blow proc, Execute proc, and then Wild Strike only when you have enough rage. You do not. If you use the Sudden Death talent, you do not want to be in the ability that you cannot use certain things because you're out of rage. You never want to be out of rage. You never want to be kept, but you never want to be out of rage that you can't use anything. You want to be using your executes. You want to be using your Raging Blow needs 10 rage. So Wild Strike comes into play when you use the Sudden Death talent. When it procs, basically when it procs, it gives you your Wild Strikes are free. It costs no rage. Then you will use them, and you only will use them if they're not proccing the Wild Strikes. You will only use them if Bloodthirst is on cooldown, Stormbolt is on cooldown, Execute is not proccing, Raging Blow is not proccing, and you have enough rage to actually use a Wild Strike. You have to make the decision, hey, am I going to Wild Strike, or do I need to keep on auto-attacking to build up some rage when my Raging Blow is going to proc? When is Bloodthirst coming off cooldown? And when it does come off cooldown, or when is Berserker Rage coming off cooldown, do I have enough rage to Raging Blow? You never want to be that low on Raging Blow if you use for Sudden Death that you cannot use your abilities, because Wild Strike is going to cost a lot more rage, and basically you want to keep an eye on that. Don't let yourself not get drained of all your rage. You want to be using your Raging Blow always. One thing you do want to keep an eye on, especially when you're rocking with Furious Strike, is your Wild Strike does a bleed on your target. Especially on cleave fights, keep an eye on it, track it, and if you have like two targets like the twins, make sure you put one Wild Strike up on each target and keep the bleed rolling on both. Really helps you out with your cleave damage. Really, really cool. So, when you are when the boss is at 20% health, and it kind of does not matter much when you're, even if you're running with Furious Strike or when you're running at Sudden Death, what is happening then at that stage? Say you're running with Furious Strikes and the boss is at 20% health. What is my rotation then? It's going to be different. Berserker Rage and Bloodthirst still off cooldown. Stormbolt still off cooldown. Raging Blow proc. When it procs, use it. Otherwise, execute. You want to basically Bloodthirst, execute. Bloodthirst, execute. Raging Blow when it procs. Wild Strike when the boss is below 20% health lost its priority, because execute costs a lot of rage. It's 30 rage. You want to use all your rage when the boss is below 20% HP. You want to use all your rage on execute. Berserker Rage will give you a Raging Blow. Bloodthirst will give you Raging Blow, still important. Stormbolt still off cooldown, still on cooldown. But Bloodthirst, execute. Forget about wall strikes. The only moment you're gonna use your wall strike when a boss is below 20% health is when you or have enough rage. If you really have a lot of rage to spend, then yes, you should wall strike. Or when it procs, and when the wall strike procs is free, then you can use it. Otherwise, execute is gonna be your main ability, next to Raging Blow, Bloodthirst on cooldown, of course, because we want to get in that enraged state. So that's the entire warrior video, guys. I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. If you like my videos, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you guys on the next video. I thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of the warrior, and I'll hope to see you guys on the next video. Bye, guys.